All right. So, good morning, everybody. Today's going to be hopefully a really sweet little juicy class. We're going to do some yang, some more energized movement, and then we're going to do some nice yin poses that go into some deep, deep muscles. We're going to start laying down. So, have your strap. If you have a strap, just have it where you can grab it. You don't need your blocks at the moment, but then come on down to your back. And maybe your feet stay on the floor, your knees stay bent. And take the feet wider on your mat and then drop the knees towards center if that feels okay for you. And maybe put the hands on your belly, feel your shoulders start to descend down to the floor. And then maybe tap into your breath. Let's start to breathe. Start to bring yourself fully into your class, your body, your mat, your immediate environment, your present moment. I read a quote this morning that I won't remember exactly, but the basis of it was that it was talking about nature, being out in nature. And it said you cannot experience nature by reading about it. You have to immerse yourself fully in the experience of nature. You have to be changed by it. You have to be moved by it to really understand your connection to nature. And I love that because it's true of so many things. Yoga, for example, we can read about it all we want, but until we move into our bodies, until we tap in and have the experience of moving our bodies, whether it's yoga or exercise or walking, we don't truly understand it until we have experienced it. And the parallels of life are immense here, whether it is love or heartbreak or health or all of those things. So we move into that experience this morning. We just tap into how we're feeling. We feel our belly rise and fall. We feel our feet on the mat. Maybe we feel our wiggliness or our desire to do more or to do less, our energy levels. All of that is truly the experience of yoga, of being here. Good. One more very purposeful breath here. And then separate the knees. Let the feet come more to hips width apart. Grab your strap. And I didn't say this, and it's not 100% necessary, but if you have your strap in a small loop, that's awesome. If you don't worry about it. If you hear me say loop, just ignore it. And bring your right knee to your chest. Now, for those wondering whether or not I know my right from my left, I'm going to mirror. So we'll see what we can do. My right, bring your right knee to chest and then wrap the strap around your right foot and take it up to the ceiling. Leave your left foot on the floor. Leave your left knee bent and just feel this initial stretch of the back of the leg. And then maybe point your toes and flex and point. Now, if you don't have a strap for some reason, you can just use your hands behind your knee, behind your thigh to help support your leg. Just point and flex a few times. There you go. stretch out the ankle, and then point your toes and really, really point. Like just try to get the front of your ankle to feel a stretch. And then release it, and then come to a small flex of your foot. Hold on to the strap or your leg with one hand and straighten your left leg halfway, just halfway. And notice the change in the stretch in your right leg. Just notice it. See if you can tap in. When we move super slow, it can easily become what I would call boring, right? Because you're ready to move, but I'm asking you to refocus every time, every movement into the body itself. And if that still feels okay, go ahead and straighten your left leg fully, all the way to the floor, and notice a change in the stretch of the hamstring, right? It's like, oh yeah. So for some of you, you have tight hamstrings, and that's just too much. So you bend the leg any amount to give that hamstring some time to warm up. And then with the strap in your right hand, allow your leg to go out toward the right. If you're not using a strap, you just support that leg with your hand. Breathe. It's a slow movement. And you'll notice that you get to a point where that opposite hip just lifts off the floor. That's okay. If you want to go deeper, that's okay. But then slowly bring it back until that hip is back on the floor. Find that. It's going to be less than you think it is if you're really pressing the left hip to the floor. And then one more time, take it out to the right. Allow the hip to rise up if you want. And then on the exhale, come part way back until that hip is pressing back. You feel your sacrum evenly on the floor. Grab the strap with your other hand and take it across just enough to feel a nice juicy stretch on the outside of your right leg. You might feel that all the way down to the calf. That's pretty normal. It might feel a little nervy, a little funky. That's normal. Good. Take the leg up to center. And then one more time, take it across. Whew, that feels so good. And bring it center. Bend your left knee. Put that foot on the floor and take your right leg into figure four. So you've just taken your right ankle to your left knee and then draw that knee to chest. And then play here with a little rock of the pelvis so that you are moving from a flat back to a little bit of an arch, just a small arch in the lower back. So you're drawing the knees closer in and then you're moving them away. Good. A couple more here. Just breathe. Just marvel. And then take the strap off your foot if it's still there. Take your right leg halfway across your left. So the shin is halfway across and draw it in and move it away. Draw it in and away. One more. Draw it in and away. And then slide your right leg all the way across. So your knee on top of knee or close, and draw both knees toward chest. Good. Maybe circle your ankles here. Stretch them out. Circle the other way. And release both feet to the floor. All right, grab your strap if you have it. Take it around your left foot. Reach that up to the ceiling. Start with a bent right knee. And just check this side out. I don't know anybody that's equally the same on both sides. I'm sure you're out there, but usually one side's tighter than the other, one side's stronger than the other. It's just how we work through life. So point and flex, just stretch. And imagine in your day if you really had nothing else to do, at least in the present moment, right? It's hard to stay in the present moment because we're always thinking about what's next. So point your toes, just try to stretch, try to feel the stretch at the front of this ankle. Big deep breath, really stretch, really stretch. And then a soft flex of the foot, the strap's in your left hand if you have it. Take the leg out to the side. Oh, I realized I forgot to do something. Bring that leg back up. Take your right leg part way down. Breathe. And then take the right leg straight if that makes sense in your body, right? Nice grounded leg. Feel the difference in the stretch of that hamstring. Relax, smile. It's just kind of a lazy Sunday for some reason. All right, now take that leg out to the side any amount. Notice, right? That right hip starts to lift off the floor and then bring it back until the hips are level. As much as you can, right? It's hard because sometimes we don't feel as much of a stretch here. Good. Take it out to the side one more time. Hold. You can see I have a chair or a swing in my way, so I'm not going to go as deep on this side. And then bring it up to the point where that hip is level. Grab the strap with your other hand, bring it across. Whoo, any amount. Oh, yeah. Outer hip, maybe outer shin. Where do you feel this one? Bring it up to center and then bring it across again. Oh, yeah. Bring it up to center. Bend your right knee. Take the ankle and put it on your right knee and come up to figure four. You can release your strap. And then from here, it's that really gentle rocking. As the knees come closer, the back flattens. And as you move it away, it arches. Good. Bring it in and out. You can tell your activity by how much is going on with these hips. Ooh, good. In and out. One more time. Just rock it in and then move it away a little bit. Walk that shin halfway across. So if you were looking, your knee is about halfway across that shin if it works for you. Pause, maybe rock again, right? Whole different stretch for some of us. Good. One more. And then slide the knee all the way across. So your knee on top of knee as if you were sitting in a chair. Draw both knees toward chest. And breathe. Maybe circle the ankles here. Good spot to circle those ankles, right? They're nice and free. Circle the other way. Gotta keep that mobility in our ankles, everybody. Gotta. Good. And release. Let both feet come to the floor. Good. Make sure your back is feeling good. Take both knees to chest. Take the hands behind your thighs. Take both legs up to the ceiling. Take both legs out to the side. I like to hold the inner knees here. Some of you are going to hold the outer thighs here. We're not going to stay in place, but it's a nice way to stretch. And then bend both knees as if you're going to go in a wide leg cobbler's pose. Bring the knees together. Take them up to the ceiling. If you feel your lower back here, take the hands underneath your sacrum, right, for a little extra support. All right, take them out. Bend the knees, the heels come in toward your hips. Bring the knees together and up. Good, now you got it. Take it out. Bend, bring the heels in, bring your knees together and straighten up. Stretching all these muscles, stretching through the hamstrings. Keep it going. Right? Stretching through the hips, bring it up. So this in itself is a little baby flow, right? All we're doing is moving through the legs and out, heels in, bring the knees together and take the legs up and hold. Now here's where I mess with your brains a little bit and mine as well. You're going to reverse that. So bring the knees into chest, take the knees apart, straighten them out, bring them back together. So knees to chest, the knees separate, the legs straighten, and then you bring them up. Good. Let's do three more. Bring them in, take them out, straighten them out, bring them up. Maybe you're feeling a little core work. Bring it in, Knees open up, legs open up, and up. Last one here, everyone. Knees in, open, straighten. Whoo, bring them up. Hold them here. Keep your right leg in, straighten your left leg toward the floor. You can hold on to the back of that leg, right, for a little bit support. If you want a little bit more, take the arms overhead, the thumbs point down. Here's your core work, right? So, not quite a yin class just yet. Working a little core, getting more warmed up. Take the left leg up, lower the right leg until it's just a few inches off the floor. Good. Bring it up. And again, if low back is tricky, you're just going to take those hands under. Good. Lowering the left leg. Take it up. Take the right leg down. We're almost done. Squeeze that belly in and lower left. Bring it up. Last one, lower right. Bring it up. Bring both knees to chest. Oh, circle out those ankles. Roll over to one side and come on up, everybody. Good. So you may or may not want to sit on a blanket. You want both of your blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, again, don't worry about it. You can use your hands. You can use a couple of books, right? So from the seated position, take just your right leg out to the side. So it's not straight in front of you, it's out to the side. Your left leg, again, I know some of you with some knee stuff, if that bent knee hurts, just straighten it a little bit more, or even just set it out to the side and have both blocks in front of you. Now I want you to flex the right foot, engage the right leg, inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to your blocks. And maybe you start with those blocks up nice and high to start, right? And just put your hands on the blocks. Notice what's happening with your right leg. Maybe you're getting some sensation on the inner thigh, right? So as we stretch through inner thighs a little bit more, your hands are on your blocks to keep your shoulders wide. No rounding, no upper back rounding. If I could see you in person, you know I'd be coming around and getting you to straighten that up a little bit. So press the hands into the blocks and lift the chest. Relax the head, neck, jaw, right? Don't lift the head. And feel this. And then maybe take your blocks and tip them away from you just for a moment. You're going to come in a little bit lower and then bring it up again. Good. Two more right here. Just tip it and bring it up. Where do you feel this, right? Tip it forward and bring it up and hold. One, you're here. That's enough of a stretch. Two, you lower your blocks a little bit and you put the hands on your blocks. So the basis of yin classes, yin yoga, if you have not taken a yin class, is a little bit slower, longer holds, right? But holds in my brain that are still aligned nicely so that we're not putting our bodies in funky positions. All right, one more deep breath, everybody. Maybe your elbows come to your blocks. Maybe your forearms come to your blocks. Take a deep breath. And then press hands into blocks to lift up. Good. Switch sides. Again, one side might feel completely different than the other side. If you have any knee issues or knee pain, you're taking care of that. And I didn't say this, but if you have a blanket or a pillow and your bent knee is way up off the floor, maybe you cushion that with something, right? That's just going to take the pressure off your hips. Blocks are in front of you. They're at the highest level. Snuggle your sit bones in, everybody. Draw the shoulders back. Feel as if someone were moving the chest bone forward so that you feel your whole back body level out a little bit. And just pause for a second. How's this side feel? So we might have a medial, an inner hamstring that is really tight. For me, that tends to be where I'm tight, and it can pull on the knees if I'm not being mindful. So don't go so deep. If it hurts, walk that foot in a little bit, right? Walk the leg in a little. All right, here we go. We're just going to move those blocks away from us. So tilt it forward and back. Good. Tilt it forward and back. And one more. Tilt forward and tilt it back. Maybe the blocks stay at that level. Maybe they drop a little bit. Maybe that drop down to second level is really nice for you. You get a little bit more stretch. Maybe your forearms come onto the blocks and you're just going to chill here for a moment. Right. And then we tap into that experience that we talked about at the beginning of class. What am I experiencing here? Is it an okay experience? Right? If we don't judge good, bad, we just go, is this okay for my body? Yes, stay. No, come on out at some point uh, so that you don't do any damage, right? We're just trying to honor this process. All right, hands to blocks, push on up. Roll your shoulders, bring that knee in, Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, butterfly pose. Same thing. Either your blocks are going to support your knees, which can be really sweet. Maybe you start there and see how that feels. And if you're used to moving and grooving with me, which we usually do, right? Just notice maybe some unrest, notice some relief. And so if your blocks are under your knees to support those hips, leave them there and just take your fingertips forward. If you don't need or want your blocks, take the blocks forward. And we're going to do a similar thing. Just watch the low backs here. Don't overreach. So your blocks are at the highest level. I want you to tip it away. Ooh, yeah. And back. Feeling those inner thighs. Good. Tip it away from you and back. Good. Last one here. Tip it away and bring it back. And then either hold nice wide shoulders, chest moving forward, or lower your blocks just a little bit, right? Feel that deeper stretch. Don't overdo it. Breathe. And then take your torso up. Set your blocks to the front of your mat. Bring your knees back up. Oh, and straighten your legs. Good. Both legs straight, flesh moved out from your sit bones. Draw the shoulders wide. Hands come to the floor and breathe. So when we think about yin and yang or yang, depending on how you say it, yang or yang poses are much more energy, a lot more muscle movement. Yin is connective tissue movement. So we're kind of doing a little combo here. So nice strong Dandasana, nice strong staff pose. Shoulders are away from each other. The belly is toned. The legs are fired up. Okay. Press your hands into the mat and breathe and notice. Good. If you can, release those hands, take them up to the ceiling, squeeze the belly. Don't let your back round. That's it. Lift one leg if you can do it. Lift your right foot off the floor, bend your knee, turn it out to the side. Here's Janusirsasana or single leg forward fold. Lean forwards. Feel your first stretch. Hands come to the floor. Roll the shoulders back. Feel the chest move toward the big toe, not the chin, not the nose, right? We don't want to round. Just breathe. And then come on up. Hands go up. Knee goes up. Leg presses out. Lower it down. Hands to the floor. Yeah, you got it. Good. Hands up. Lift your left leg. Bring it in. Turn it out to the side. Lift up. Swan dive forward. Little baby stretch here. Again, a little tiny flow. Often in yoga, when we think of flow, we're thinking sun salutations and all of that. But any movement of pose to pose to pose is considered flow. Good. Come on up. Arms up. Lift that right or that left knee. Press it out. Lower it down. You got it now. Lift the leg. Hold. Squeeze. Bring it in. Turn it out. Bring it forward. Stretch forward. Whoo, yeah. And then come on up. Lift the arms. Take the knee up. Press the leg out. Lower. Other side. Bring it in. Turn it out. Use those hips. Lift the torso. Take it forward, everybody. Inhale up. Bring the knee up. Press it out. We got one more, both sides. Good. Lift the right leg. Feel that. Feel that work. Bring the knee in. Turn it out to the side. Lift your torso. Take the body forward. Hold for a moment. Draw the shoulders back. Chest bone moves forward. We find our breath here. We move into the experience. We find our breath. We find sensation. And take the torso up, reach up. Bring that knee up. Push it out. One more, one side. Good. Lift the leg. Bring it in. Turn it out. Drop it in. Reach forward. Remember that torso wants to be long, one side of your body to the other side of your body. The front body, back body, pretty equal from a length standpoint, right? If we round, we shorten the front body and we lengthen the back body. We don't want that right now, anyway. Breathe. Take it up, lift up. Take the knee up, push that leg out, drop that leg, drop the hands, roll it out. And then one more little funky thing here before we get up off our butts. You're going to grab your blocks and place them at the second level on either side of your hips. You're going to press your hands into the blocks and see if you can lift up and then back down. Now, if that's really hard, bend your knees, dig those heels in, and lift up and down. So you choose. Watch the knees here. Good. Lift up and down. Just four more. This is two and three. I know, shoulder work, right? Snuck that in. Four. Whoo. Last one. Five. And down. Nice job over there. Good. All right. Set those blocks over to the sides, to the front of your mat. Let's come on to table pose. You can use your blanket here for your knees if you would like, especially if you're on a really hard surface. You won't need your strap for now. And then come to table pose. Spread the fingers, right? Press into the thumb and index fingers. Tone that belly in so that your low back isn't dropping down. And then just round through those ribs. Just do big circles. Been doing this one a lot lately instead of a regular cat cow. It just feels good to move through that whole torso and switch directions. The ribs go left, up, right, and down. Good. Couple more right here. And then neutral, walk your hands forward again here, right? Teeny tiny flow. You're going to bring those hips back toward your heels. Just stretch. And then circle right, circle forward, circle left, and come back down. Good. Big circles here. You can spread the knees wider if you want. For some people, that feels really nice. Reach it back, circle forward. And the next time the hips are back, just change directions. Circling around the other way, stretching through the hips. Oh, yeah. Are you smiling, by the way? Are you breathing? One more big circle. You got it. And then come back to center. Step forward with your left leg. Grab your blocks and place your hands on your blocks. This is what happens when I don't put my hair up. Good. And just stretch it out, right? Again, this is a regular yoga pose, right? A regular yang yoga pose. We can not hold super long and it's yang. We can hold super long and it's yin. It's kind of an interesting thing. So just breathe. Feel the stretch, engage your back glute muscle. And then flip your toes under, lift your knee off the floor, hold this nice, strong lunge, right? And I always think about drawing the inner thighs towards each other. Your right, if your left foot is forward, your right hand stays on the block and your left arm goes up. And then circle that arm. Just breathe, right? We lubricate every joint. We find our breath. And then let that hand come back down to your block. Pause here and then straighten the front leg any amount. So hamstring, 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 right? A lot of what we we're doing already is hamstring stretching. As you do that, press your toes down into the mat, stretch the front ankle, tone the belly, and maybe the chest moves forward. There you go. Notice if your foot rolls out, rolls in, see if you can keep it aligned. Breathe. And bend your front knee, lower your right knee, draw that left leg back and draw the right leg forward. There you go. Find your first stretch. I'm going to go crazy with my hair, so I'm going to put it up. I thought maybe I could leave it down for a change. Ain't happening. Feel your first stretch, everybody. Breathe, right? The back glute is engaged a little bit. That just keeps you from overstretching the front thigh. Breathe. Open up the shoulders, soften them down toward the floor. And then when you're ready, flip your toes under, lift your legs, squeeze the inner upper thighs toward each other. Your left hand stays on your block and the right arm does a nice big circle. Maybe 3, maybe 4. That's it. One more. Breathe. Hand comes back to the block, straighten your front leg. Now you can do this knee down too, by the way. I didn't say that on the other side. Your knee is down and your front leg straightens. That's perfectly okay too if this is just a little too much today. The belly tones, and it's almost like somebody takes the crown of your head and reaches it forward so that you're not doing the little C curve with your spine. You're actually lengthening it. Find your breath. Press into your big toe mound. Look at your own foot. See if it's rolling in, rolling out. Breathe. And then bend both knees. Lower your left knee to the floor. Slide your right leg back. Both blocks up at the front of your mat. Plant your hands. Flip toes under. Let's come to downward facing dog. And once you're there, pedal out your feet, everybody. Oh, stretch those babies out. Right? Back legs, everything stretching. And then hold for a moment. Now, if downward facing dog is new to you or it's challenging, take the feet wider. You can bend the knees if your hamstrings are super tight. Just check it out. How's it feeling in your body? Breathe. And then walk your hands back to your feet. Bend your knees, hands to knees, and come on up to standing. And roll it out, everybody. All right. So if you have a blanket on your mat, maybe set it aside for a moment. We're going to do a little baby flow just to make sure we're fully warmed up, and then we're going to come back to the mat. So I'm going to turn myself around. Blocks are to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, nice forward fold. Your blocks are here. You can put your hands on your blocks if you would like. Come halfway up. And then exhale it down. Soften both knees. Purposefully step back left leg. Pause here. Your knee can be up or down. Your left hand stays on the floor or on your block. You're going to slide that right arm up to the ceiling. Hold. This is just a simple twist lunge, right? Nothing too hard. So then feel that, right? If this is sustainable for you, feel it in your body. How's that feel? Good. Take that hand down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet, spread the fingers. Inhale to tippy toes. Little bit of plank. Hold it right here. Squeeze the legs. Find your breath. You got this. Breathe. Lower your knees to the floor. We won't go into all the detail of chaturanga, but elbows stay in, chest moves forward. You slowly come to the floor. Maybe release and press the arms back. Breathe, little variation of locust pose. Release that, hands to the floor, press into your knees. Press up to plank, to down dog. Oh yeah, find your breath. Look through your hands, step forward, left leg. Step forward, right leg. Inhale all the way up. And exhale right to your heart. Good, let's do the other side. Take it up. Exhale all the way down. Inhale halfway up. Another way to do that is hands to shins. Just don't lock your knees. Exhale it down. Soften both knees. Step back, right leg. Block under your right hand or not. Take the left arm up. Scissor the inner thighs toward each other, right? So that the legs don't do funky splayed out things. Find your breath. Your chin is level. Yeah, you got this. Take that hand down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Spread the fingers. Dig in with your thumb and index fingers. Plank pose. Hold, hold, hold. Now in plank pose, right? Lots of options. Knees down. Beautiful option. Elbows instead of hands. Another awesome option. Breathe, everybody. And then lower knees. Chaturanga, take it down. Release to a low cobra, maybe. Maybe the arms reach back for a little modified locust pose. Hands to the floor, press into your knees, plank pose. Down dog. Look through your hands, step forward with your right leg. Find your breath. Step forward left. Bend both knees. Inhale, take it up. Exhale to your heart. And then just pause for a moment. How's that feel? We're going to do one more. Roll the shoulders, shake it all out. Breathe. Here we go. One more, meaning both sides. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, float it down. Breathe here, right? So now I just want you to pause a little bit longer. Hands can be on blocks. You know who you are, right? Watch that low back. Find your breath. And then press hands into blocks or shins. Lift halfway up. Exhale it all the way down. Bend both knees, step back, left leg. Find your lunge. Your knee can be up or down. Your left hand stays on the floor or on your block. Take the right arm up. And breathe. And smile. Feel your body. Notice if your back foot is rolling in or rolling out. Usually it's a roll out, but just notice if it's not squared and straight. Take the right hand back to the floor. If your hand's on block, take both hands on your blocks and straighten your front leg, right? We've already done this before. So now we feel this. Maybe we flex the front foot. Whoo. And as we flex the front foot, we feel that sit bone at the back of your right thigh drawing back, hamstrings. Breathe. Good. Plant those front toes. Bend your front knees. If your blocks are down low, you can leave your blocks there if you want. Step back, downward facing dog. Use your breath. Plank pose. Lengthen, listen up. Right? Every time I say listen up, like, oh no, something else is happening. You can come down to elbows, by the way, if your wrists are chatty. I want you to tap knees for 10. One, single knee. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Core work, right? Good. Downward facing dog. Nice job, everybody. Use your breath. If your blocks are there, be careful of your step forward. Look forward, step forward with your left leg. Maybe you have to scoot a block out of the way here. And then push off, step forward, right leg. Bend both knees, right? Lift from your chest. Inhale, take it up. Exhale to your heart. Roll the shoulders. Last one, inhale. Exhale all the way down. Pause. Maybe this time you shake those hips side to side, right? We're just finding all of these openings in the body. And then press into your shins, lift halfway up. Pause. Lower back down. Soften both legs, step back, right leg. Here we are in that lunge again. Your right hand is on your block. Your left arm goes up to the ceiling. Scissor the upper inner thighs toward each other. That just keeps particularly the back leg in alignment. Soften both shoulders away from your ears and notice. Right? Could you hold this? Could it be sustained? Maybe. Knee down is always an option. Take that hand back down. Maybe both hands are on your blocks at any level and straighten your front leg. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Find your breath. Squeeze the low belly just enough. I hear somebody that's unmuted. Maybe somebody could check their computer. Breathe, everybody. Good. Bend your front leg. Step back, downward facing dog. Notice. Plank pose. Here we go. Tone in through the belly. Don't let your lower back sink. Don't let your hips sink. Good. 1, stay here. 2, tap those knees. 10, 9, alternate knees. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold your plank. Go to down dog. Find your breath. And then tippy toe down to your knees. And if you can, you're sitting back to child's pose. If you cannot, just roll to one side or come onto your back. Find your breath. And just breathe. Good. Come on to table pose, just long enough to lift your knees and to walk your feet forward. So you're back in your forward fold. Bend your knees and come on up to standing. And roll your shoulders. Shake it out. Right. So that was that kind of yang, that kind of energy, flow, heat part of or type of yoga. And so now we're going to just move into a little bit slower thought process. So I want you to take both of your blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, you might want to put your hands like on a table or on a bed or wherever you are set up today. Start by coming into mountain pose, right? Please watch the backs of the knees. Don't hyperextend them. Don't pop them back. And then just hinge forward and take your hands to your blocks. It's a light touch, right? Your belly's just enough engaged. And then I want you to walk your blocks forward so that your arms are straight out in front of you. Your head is in alignment with your arms, meaning for me anyway, my ears are on either side of my arms. Walk the feet back enough that your hips and your ankles line up and you're not dropping into the back or fronts of your feet. You should feel pretty level in your feet. Backs of the knees are soft, even if your legs are straight. The shoulders are nice and open, and you're gonna just pause. Right? Nothing to do here but pause. If you are too deep, if you feel this in your lower back, the first thing I want you to do is take a deeper bend in your knees. If you're okay, the legs are relatively straight. If you still feel it in your lower back, I want you to take the blocks much closer so that you're more neutral. Okay? Just breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. The elbows can be heavy. It all depends on your flexibility here, so don't force it. Big deep breath. Let the head hang, so the top of that head going toward the floor a little bit, the back of the neck getting a stretch. That's it. We're almost there. How's that feeling, right? Are you feeling different things? Now pretend that someone is trying to pull your legs apart, side to side, and draw those legs isometrically away from each other. And notice how that just engaged the upper hamstrings, maybe into the sit bones, right? Way up here. Maybe you feel it in a different spot. That's okay. One more big deep breath. And then come halfway up. Walk the blocks back halfway. So they're much closer to you, but still pretty much under shoulders. I want you to take your torso more into a neutral table, right? That whole torso, relatively flat. Tone the belly in and just think about this for a moment. Good. Soften the backs of the knees, broaden through the sit bones, right? These little, where the hamstrings attach. I want you to widen that space. And then bend your knees slowly, one hand to the other to knee, other hand to your knee, and come on up. Oh, ho, ho, right? Feel those hamstrings. Those nice long holds can really challenge the hammies. All right, so blocks off to your side, hands to the mat, step back downwards facing dog. Tiptoe to your toes, lower your knees, and have a seat. Ah, ha, ha, and breathe. All right. So here's where maybe you get some props happening, right? Maybe here's where you have your blanket, your blocks, a pillow, right? Whatever it is that your little heart desires here. And I want you to come back into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. But here's the difference between yin and yang, my understanding is that yin, your heels are very close to your glutes or your groin. It's a much deeper bend in the knees. In yin, take the feet away from you so that if you look down, you got a little diamond pattern here. Grab your blocks and place them under your knees, unless your knees are flat to the floor, which if if they are, that's awesome. And then maybe you have a blanket, maybe you have a pillow that you put in front of you, and you're just gonna rest, relax on that pillow. If you don't have all this stuff, it's okay. You don't really need it, right? Yin can be hands forward, and it's just breathing. Now, I divert from yin. The yin training that I have done, you would kind of curl down into your props. I don't love that for the spine. So I will stay more neutral and then just contemplate what's happening in my body. Right? This feels really good for me, but I'm real open in the hips. Some of you might have your knees way up high and you're supporting that. Some of you are going to just take the blocks away completely and feel a little bit different sensation. And then we're just going to contemplate what's happening in our bodies. Yin, the principles of yin as I understand them, is that you hold a pose for time, you try to still the body mind, right? And you just breathe. The depth of the pose is appropriate for you, not me, not anybody else. It's where you want to be for a few moments. And if both knees bent like this is not accessible, there's a couple things you can do. I should have said this at the beginning. You can lay on your back and bring the feet together, or you can take the legs wide. So I'll just show if you're struggling here. Just take the legs nice and wide so the knees don't have so much bend in them, right? And then notice, right? I resisted yin for a long time. I resisted rests between poses for a long time. I didn't think they were necessary. But it's just a different way of being. It's a different way of understanding your body or yoga or the world. Good. Couple more breaths right here. And then come out slowly. So press up really tall. If you've got stuff in your way, you can just set them out off to the side. Take the hands to the outer knees and draw those knees in. And then take the feet in front of you, take the legs wide, and just do a little bit of windshield wiper. So the other way, the other principle of yin, as I understand it, so all my yin folks out there that know yin really well, you'll forgive my interpretation, is that you do a counter pose for each long hold. This would be your counter pose. Good. And then the next time the knees are over to the left, pause. Take that right knee and make it comfortable, right? So for a lot of people, that means bringing that knee back. You can play with your blocks here. You can put a blanket or a pillow under the back knee, under the back ankle, if you would like. So both knees are out to the side. That right hip is dropping, but there's probably space underneath that right hip. That's okay. You can cushion under it if you would like. Take the left hand out to the side of your shoulder. Take the right arm up and just pause. One, if you're okay here, stay here. Two, drop down to your elbow and reach the arm overhead. And just let the arm kind of stretch away from your right hip. So right arm stretches away from right hip. And breathe. Little baby stretch here. Maybe the chest opens a little, right? Maybe that top arm opens back a little bit. Make sure your head, neck aren't uncomfortable. So side bend here, side stretch. And then you're going to turn toward your left leg. So toward that left arm, you're going to reach your right arm, plant that hand, stretch your other arm out, and then maybe you lower down toward the floor. Breathe. You can use your pillow for your forehead. You can use your hands to support your head. Just check your breath. If you want a little bit more, that back leg, your right leg moves back behind you a little bit more. Just watch the hips here. And you get a little bit more stretch through the front of that back leg. Deep breath. Once again, we just pause. We go to the depth of the pose that is appropriate for us. Maybe you're not on the floor, maybe you're on elbows, maybe your hands are straight. And then we just pause. We take in what's happening around us, what's happening within us. Good. One more nice breath right here. So come out the way you came in. If you're all the way down on the floor, I want you to slowly lift maybe to the elbows and then lift up to your hands. Leave your left hand on the floor, reach the right arm up overhead, and then release it down. You're going to slide your back leg up a little bit and come on up. I know, right? So, yin poses create sensation, those longer holds. Just be mindful. All right, windshield wiper. La ta ta, right? And yin is usually much like just really, really mellow. You might find yourself feeling a little sleepy here. All right, knees go over to the right. This back leg shifts back so that it's comfortable. You're going to notice how this feels. Take your right hand out to the side and it's back a little ways, right? It's slightly back from the hip. And take the left arm up and just pause. And snuggle in. Cushion the knees any way you need to. You're just stretching them out here. Right, you can even if it hurts the knee to bend that much, your back leg can be straighter, your front leg can be straighter, and you just kind of stay up, right? This is one of those kind of all-purpose poses. You can really change how it feels for you just by moving the legs. And stretch out that whole left side. Maybe you drop to your elbow here. Notice how that feels. And then take the left arm and turn yourself toward the right thigh, right? As if you were going to reach out for something and straighten your other arm. Maybe you stay on hands. Maybe you come to elbows, one side often different from the other. So maybe you pause and check it out. Maybe you drop down so that your forehead's resting on your hands. Pause here. Maybe you let out a big, deep sigh. You know, how often do we give ourselves permission to slow down enough? Maybe the back leg moves back a little bit more. Just watch that, especially for SI joints. It can be a little tricky. Just breathe. One more nice deep breath here. If you have found comfort in this pose, this is one of those poses. I could probably fall asleep like this. It's so comfortable in my body. All right, so start to press out. Remember, if you're really low, come up slowly. Lift the hands, pause. Leave your right hand down on the floor. Take the left arm overhead again. And then release that hand. Bring those legs back together. Take the legs forward and do a little windshield wiper. Little windshield wiper action. We're going to come down to our bellies. And if you want a blanket or a little extra cushion on those hips and belly, just spread your blanket out on your mat. You might want your pillow nearby if you have it, but I want you to start all the way down on your bellies. I've got my chin lifted just from a voice standpoint, but you can drop down to your forehead here and let your neck be really comfortable. Bend one knee and bring that heel toward your glute and then release. And bring the other one in and release. Good. Couple more. Bring it in and release. Bring the other one in and release. Now press down into your pubic bone, right? Press down into that nice hard bony pubic bone. Draw the left knee or the left foot toward the left hip and just pause. Some of you are going to just stay right here. This is plenty, plenty. Rest of you, if you can, I want you to reach back and just find your foot. If you can't find your foot and you really want to, I didn't demo this, but you can use your strap. I don't love the strap, honestly. I think it detracts. So I would just keep the knee bent. But if you can find your foot and draw your knee or draw your heel as close in as your body will allow. Press down through your pubic bone and lengthen the front thigh. So we did all this stretching of our hamstrings, and we didn't do any stretching of our quadricep, the opposing muscle. So here we are. We're stretching the quad. We're breathing. Maybe you're holding the toes so that the front ankle is getting a good stretch. Maybe not. Good. So here's the tricky part. I want you to press down into the floor. If you can, let go of the foot, but hold the deeper stretch. You might even get a hamstring cramp. If you can hold even with the cramp, go ahead. If you can't, let go because this is tricky. Breathe. The first time a teacher said hold it through the cramp, I went, "Are you crazy?" But it will dissipate. Squeeze in, press down through your pubic bone, and then let go. Ooh, yeah. Maybe flip the toes under, lift your knees, stretch it out. Good. Release. Go to the other side. I know you're all like, "Are you crazy?" Bend your right knee, press into your pubic bone, press into the front hip. Breathe. Maybe you hold it right here, right? Maybe you find your level. Maybe you reach back, grab your foot, and breathe. And just hold it for a moment. Just feel, right? That front quad. Ooh, right? The front thigh muscles. They get a lot of action, especially in yoga. They don't get a lot of stretch unless you purposefully do so. Big deep breath. So, one, stay here holding the foot. Two, if you can, release it and see if you can hold it in place or close. Breathe. If you start to cramp, either let go or just see if you can hold even through the cramp. I mean, if it's really hurting, please let go. This is not a contest. Breathe, breathe, and let go. Good job, everybody. Shake it out. And then come on up to your elbows. Now, this is where a pillow might come in handy for you. If you would like a little more yin version, I want you to take your pillow or your blanket if you're not using it and place that underneath your ribs. If you have a bolster, that's a whole nother story. That's like bliss all in itself. But the pillow or the blanket just gives your ribs something to rest on so that it isn't as intense a back bend. You know who you are. I know who some of you are. If you need to bring elbows forward to lessen that back bend, please do so. You're pressing the pubic bone down, you're gently pressing your tops of your feet, and you're holding. So, Sphinx is one of those yin poses or yang poses in Yang, we would not hold this for very long. And yin, we're going to hold it a little bit longer. And then we're going to just check out sensation. Something else you can do, I can't reach it, but you can bend your elbows and put your head in your hands, right? So you're not holding your head. If you have a block, you can put the block on the floor in front of you and rest your forehead on that. But just notice, right? Snuggling into the pubic bone, feeling the legs, but not overly contracting the legs. So yin is not about muscle contraction. Just breathe. Anytime that you need to or want to come out of pose, you know that you can, right? We don't stay we definitely don't stay in pain. But if it's too much, you just come on out and rest. And then everybody go ahead and lower down. Bend your knees, maybe windshield wiper your legs, shifting from hip to hip. And then straighten the legs. We're going into Sphinx one more time. Press down into your pubic bone, come up to your elbows. If you would like more, that means your back does not hurt. You can go with a little bit more sensation. I like to take my hands diagonal or to the corners of my yoga mat, just lift my elbows off the floor. Shoulders stay down, we're not scrunching. This will create more sensation in your lower back. So maybe you stay for 5 breaths and then you lower to elbows. Maybe you feel the stretch of the belly, right? Another area that does not get stretched enough. Big deep breath, everyone. If you're off elbows, drop down 2 elbows. And then everybody lower down. Oh, bend your knees, shake it out. And then roll over to your back. That will feel really good. Talk about a counter pose. Maybe you have a blanket or a block or a pillow nearby. Press into your feet, shift your hips over to the right edge of your mat. Bring your knees to your chest and then lower your knees to the left. So here we are, basic twist, right? Maybe you take a blanket or a pillow underneath your knees. That feels really good. If your knees are separated in twists, maybe you take the blanket between your thighs. Also, really kind of sweet. Maybe the arms are out straight, maybe they're in cactus pose. We just find our breath here. Just notice everybody. I say that a lot, just notice. But it is that gentle reminder to stay in the present moment, right? To stay in your body or maybe in your environment, what you hear surrounding you, what you feel. Hmm. Relax your jaw. Take one knee back to center. Take the other knee back to center. Shift your hips to the middle of your mat. And then shift the hips all the way over to the left edge. Draw the knees toward chest first, and then lower them to the floor. Maybe use your pillow here underneath the knees or between them. Coming into a twist on this side, and then just allowing your body to settle down into the pose. Feel the breath move through you. Feel the muscles settling down, right? It's like we resist and then we release, we surrender. We feel our jaws slacken. We feel our hearts soften. In a true yin class, you can hold poses anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. We haven't been doing quite such long holds, but you get the idea. Hmm. One more breath right here. And then bring your knee to center, bring your other knee to center, square your hips. Grab a block. Hopefully, you have one nearby. And then lift the hips just high enough to set the block at its lowest level under your sacrum. Please don't let it be anywhere in your back, right? Should not be anywhere in the soft flesh. It's right at the hard, bony sacrum below the hips. The shoulders draw back, the hands, palms face up ideally. This is a restorative bridge pose. Find your breath. If there's any reason you should not have head below your heart or your body or pressure, eye pressure, maybe you take it down and just breathe. And then final option here, we're just about done. Either stay here or draw the knees toward chest. Make sure you're steady on your block and take the legs up to the ceiling. Now there's a hover point, right? I call it the hover point where you don't have to work the legs. If you feel tippy on your block, just shift maybe more of the sacrum onto the block and let the legs just hover up in the ceiling. No effort, no pressure. So, inversions in yoga are very good for the body, they're good for the nervous system, so they say. And this is an inversion that you can do so simply. You can also do this at the wall without a block. You can put your legs up over a chair and you just feel your whole upper body settle down. It's like putting on a weighted blanket. It just calms you down. Just breathe, everybody. If this feels like too much, go back to your restorative bridge or take the block out fully and get ready for your Shavasana. We're almost there, everyone. Good. Two more nice, deep breaths right here. Maybe audible sighs on your exhale. If your legs are up, go ahead and bend the knees toward your chest. Let one foot come to the floor first and then the other foot. Press into both feet and lift your hips up off the block. Take the block out. Just pause for a second, right? Good squeeze of the hips, the glutes. Good squeeze here. And then as you exhale, let it come down all the way down to the floor. And then straighten your legs and let's come into Shavasana. Shavasana, another lovely thing. Maybe your pillow goes under your knees, right? Maybe you settle down a little more. Maybe you curl over to one side and wrap your blanket around you. What can you do here to really fully settle into your pose? And with each successive exhale, maybe you feel your body fall deeper into the floor as if the edges of that body were melting. Notice as the thoughts move through. Just don't hang on to any particular thought or don't follow it down the rabbit hole. Just let them drift through. Feel the soft movement of your belly, the flow of air as it moves in through your nose and back out. Just see if you can go a little softer still, right here. So those of you who want to stay in Shavasana much longer, please do. Those of you who are ready, just wiggle those toes and fingers a little bit. Maybe slowly bending one knee and then the other. Pausing there, letting the lower back settle in, letting the whole back settle down. And then drawing your knees to your chest and rocking side to side. Allowing the knees to roll over to one side, curling all the way over into fetal pose. And maybe just feel your state of mind, the state of your body. And as you're ready, press all the way up. And bring your hands to your heart. Bow to your own inner wisdom and voice. Let your heart open out to the world, to things that maybe you resist. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.